Very good morning once again, and many thanks for staying with us right here on the #1 breakfast show in the country, Morning at NTV. My name is Romeo Busiku, and of course I come to you with yet again another pertinent conversation, largely focusing on the EAC community, the trade disputes that have taken center stage within the region, and how best we can iron out all these issues so that we can speed up the integration process. In my midst, I do have Honorable Rebecca Kadaga. She is the first Deputy Prime Minister of Uganda. She also serves concurrently as the Minister for East African Community Affairs. A very good morning, Honorable Rebecca Kadaga. I must say I'm very honored to be in your midst.
It's a pleasure to see you this morning.
Indeed. Yeah. Let's kick off with a situational analysis of where we've come from as the EAC bloc. Do you believe we've made strides in that regard when it comes to speeding up the integration process, or are we slowing? And if we are, what are some of the problems leading to that?
Okay, first, the East African Community Integration Program effectively restarted in 1999. You recall that we had the old East African community, quite vibrant until 1977, when it eventually collapsed. And when it restarted, the same three countries that had been together in 77 started the arrangement: Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. And then a few years later, they were joined by Rwanda and Burundi. After that, the South Sudan joined. And then on 8th April this year, the Democratic Republic of Congo joined the community. So we are now 7 countries. All right. So that extent, it has grown from 3 now to 7.
That is a milestone in that regard.
Yes, yeah. And now you have a common market that spans from the Indian Ocean up to the Atlantic, and a population of over 300 million people. Now, the integration was built on 4 pillars. The first was the customs union. The second is the common market protocol. The third is the monetary union. And finally, the political federation.
Indeed.
So the customs union is already in place. That was to govern the trade issues and so on. The common market is also, protocol is also in place. That one has to do with the 5 freedoms and 2 rights.
Yes.
The freedom of movement, of services, of capital, of labor within the community, and then the rights of establishment and the right of residence. The third one is the monetary union, which we expect to be in place by the end of 2023, with a view to having the common currency in 2024. That's the program. If everything moves according to schedule.
So you believe by 2024 we could have one single currency?
That is the plan. That's the plan. Yes. And the political federation is slightly far off. Along the way, it had to be amended to a political confederation first as a transition arrangement. So that will be the final stage. So yes, it is on course. Some areas are moving faster than others, but definitely it has grown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you spoke about freedom of movement of persons and goods. Right now, it's really difficult for our traders to actually enter Tanzania and in that regard. And in some instances, if I'm a lawyer in Uganda, if I'm a doctor, I can't ably cross over into Kenya and go there and practice. So some of those issues have dogged the ability of this integration to actually go farther like we want to. Why are we in this position when we have laws that have been framed already to guide us on this? Why are countries still resisting to implement?
Yeah, some areas are not moving as well as they should. Definitely the issue of the professional movement, especially in the legal profession, has lagged behind. And it is an area which I want to handle as quickly as possible. A 2 weeks ago, we had a joint permanent commission with the United Republic of Tanzania. Unfortunately, we had about 8 subjects, but we had only addressed 2 by the time the meeting had to end because the heads of state were going to meet. But I'm planning to go to Tanzania to lead the mission, but now bilaterally under the EAC, to deal with the issues of the tourist visa, the movement of our business community. We have solved the issue of the cost of the truck drivers. They were being charged $500 to drive from Mutukula to Dar es Salaam. Now we have reduced it to $140, $40,000. So that one we have handled, but so we still have the issue of the tourist visa and then the business permit. Yeah.
At the end of the day, according to the laws, as a Ugandan, all I need is a national ID.
Yeah.
And boom, I'll be in Kenya, I'll be in Tanzania, Burundi, DRC. But for now, they're asking for more than that. Why is this still the case, Honorable Kadam?
You know, although we are the community, we are not yet a federation.
I see.
So every sovereign state still has their own municipal laws, their own domestic arrangements. So it's a question of really encouraging one another to abandon a certain level of protectionism and embrace fully the Common Market Protocol. So we are continue to work towards that.
There was also that issue of trade protectionism. At some point, Lato milk couldn't make its way into Kenya.
Yes, yes.
There was that issue of aflatoxins and so forth in our maize and so forth. How have you been handling it as the Minister for East African Community Affairs to ease trade within the region?
We've had a number of engagements. For instance, the Lato milk, I think we resolved that towards the end of the year. So Lato is now able to export to Kenya. We have also gone beyond, and now they're exporting even to Zambia and other places. So we are broadening the market within the COMESA and the East African community. Yes, definitely there's been a level for protectionism. When the Tanzania president came, during the Joint Permanent Commission, we were discussing now the issue of sugar. And the chairman of the Tanzania Revenue Authority said, you see, we can allow you to bring some sugar now, but our new factory is almost coming, into force. So once it does, we shall stop. They said, no, but under the customs union, we're supposed to have a certain amount of capacity to enter your market. So you can't just lock us out. So you see, in their thinking, say, we need to protect our industries. But they are forgetting that we have the common purpose and common agreement. So we shall continue to engage. And as I said, either in late June or early July, I'm going to lead the Uganda mission to meet the Tanzanians. We'll discuss the remaining areas of deficiency.
Of course, according to the media practitioners who've been investigating and on the ground, the issue of insecurity within the DRC is impeding trade within the region. How is your office working around circumventing these problems to ensure that there's still smooth running of business within the region, despite the insecurity with our neighbors DRC who just joined?
Well, work is being done not just by my ministry, but beyond the ministry with the Ministry of Defense. Indeed. And we do have the East African Defense Pacts, which we are going to use to work with our new neighbor. Old neighbor, but now more officially
part of the family now.
Part of the family.
Indeed.
So it's going to be an area of engagement. And early this month, we are going to have military games in Jinja, the East African military games, and we've invited the Congolese to be part of it, even if they have not finally brought their instruments. But because they are now part of the family.
It will be more like an induction.
Yes, they're coming to be with us in Jinja for about a week. So we are starting the engagement.
Indeed.
But also the government is working on the issue of the roads so that the country is also accessible. So the Uganda government will finance 20%, Congo government will finance 80%, so that we have more accessibility. But also we are waiting for the DRC, after they sign the Treaty of Accession, we normally give them 6 months to ratify the treaty in their cabinet, take it to Parliament, also to give us a timetable, which, for instance, the common market, which of the freedoms would come into effect immediately.
Let's talk about DRC itself. Okay, entering the EAC bloc. What does it mean for the whole region? For Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Burundi, Southern Sudan, for us as the EAC community, what does the entrance of DRC within this bloc mean to all of us?
Starting with the trade, because once they become part of us, we are eligible for the common external tariff. So goods produced in Congo, if we satisfy the rules of origin, will enter this market free. Goods manufactured here will also enter their market. So that's the first one, is the issues of the customs union, where we have the common external tariff. The second one is the market. If we talk about the milk, the battles over sugar, the battles over eggs. Now, if we have a partner in the region, I don't have to continue fighting with the Kenyans over our sugar. I will take it to DRC.
Indeed.
It may take longer to get there, but I have more people there who are going to buy the sugar, and so on. Then secondly, for a landlocked country like Uganda, if after this arrangement, we have 3 channels to the sea, actually 2 seas. We shall have the port of Tanga, the Indian Ocean, our traditional port, the port of Mombasa, which is the main port of entry. We shall also have the port of Matadi on the Atlantic. So if someone, a trader, can transport his goods even by road from Bwera up to the Atlantic, maybe in a shorter time than you know, in the past, when you're importing from America, you have got to go right around the Cape of Good Hope up to Mombasa.
Yes.
But now, you can do it in a few hours. You're at the Atlantic, and then you're across to America.
I see.
Yes, so for me, it's a very, very good thing for the hinterland. It's a very good thing for
Let's
the
talk about another challenge in there, the issue of language barrier. You have Ugandans with over how many languages?
Yes.
You have the Kenyans with their Swahili and English. You have the Tanzanians with their Swahili. If you go to Burundi, there'll be some French in there. The Rwandans, there's French. So we do not have one single language through which we can communicate and ably do business. So what is the EAC leadership going to be doing about that, especially your office?
Okay.
A single language.
In February 2021, the heads of state, after they received the application from Congo, they made a decision that Swahili and French should become 2 more official languages of the East African community. So now we have 3 languages. But for us now to fully integrate with the Congo, we are going to make a lot of adjustments. First of all, in our proceedings, now we shall have to introduce French. If a Congolese come to speak on the floor, you can't say, you better wait and speak in English. He'll come to speak in French. So we must have interpretation facilities. We should have experts who can understand both languages, switch from English to French and so on. In the meetings, now, since 8th of February, French is now officially spoken in the community. Our education system will have to be more responsive. You know, there's always a joke that Swahili was born in Zanzibar, grew up on the mainland Tanzania, matured in Kenya, fell sick in Rwanda and Burundi,
died in Uganda.
Went to ICU in Congo, and died in Uganda. You know,
that's perfect. Yes.
So you know, within the community, we are fully registered as the worst performers, Uganda, worst performers in Swahili. So our education system will have to change. My own view would be that Swahili should now be examinable at primary 7, just as English, mathematics, science. So for me, it should be compulsory and examinable from that stage, so that we have a generation of children who are really knowledgeable in it. Okay, you know the 3 languages of the community in English, Swahili, and French. So both French and Swahili should now become really compulsory.
Won't that generate any confusion, especially with the employers who might want their prospective employees to actually apply or write their CVs in English?
No, but you see, we are, you know, when you're doing integration, you should, for me, having a second language is to me an advantage.
It's an advantage.
And I'd really encourage people to learn more than one language. When you're applying to jobs for jobs in the United Nations, they will always say speaking a second or third language is an advantage. So the question of just one language is no longer very, very attractive. So it's for our own good, it's important that we learn more than one language, whether it's Chinese or Russian, Japanese. For me, we should have an extra additional language. Yeah. So yes, it's going to be different. It's going to cost us more to make those changes. But on the other hand, the English teachers in Uganda will now get a market in Congo to go and teach us for English. Not all of them speak English. Then the French speakers will also get additional jobs. So the French speakers are going to become more visible even within the community.
I see.
Yeah. So if you haven't done, take the lessons.
Of course, I did do some French for 6 years, senior 1 to senior 6, but I'll tell you honestly, it's very, very, very hard to learn a language without any other person to practice with, because you're going to learn French within the classroom, but outside of the classroom, it's going to be English. So it was really, really hard to actually learn the language. And I think it's also going to be a problem in the near future when we introduce these languages. Don't you think? The fact that the learners within the classrooms will be learning that language, but outside classrooms, they go back to their languages, local languages.
No, you know what? I think we, the English speakers, have not been very forthright. You know, if you go to the Francophone countries, they speak a little bit of English. They try.
Yeah, but with that French accent.
Yes, but you know, you see that there's a Frenchman trying to speak English.
Yes.
So they make an effort to have a little bit of English. So I think similarly for us, we need to make that adjustment. But we can have French clubs here. There's Alliance Française, this and that. So
there are more pros than cons.
Yes, yes. For me, it's an advantage.
You also hinted on the issue of the single currency, which you think might materialize in 2024.
Yeah.
We need you to actually take us through a step-by-step basis for the purposes of helping the viewer understand what exactly will be employed by your office to ensure, and other stakeholders, of course, to ensure that this is a possibility by 2024. What are the steps?
Okay, first of all, the decision was taken that by 2024, we should have a common currency. Now, in order for that common currency to come into effect, we must have a East African Monetary Institute to train and organize before the single currency. Where we are at the moment, on the 1st of July 2021, the Secretariat announced that countries can now put in their bids to host the East African Monetary Institute. That institute will eventually become the East African Central Bank. So at the moment, 5 countries had bidded, but Rwanda withdrew. So the countries that are now in the contention is the United Republic of Tanzania, Uganda, Burundi, and Kenya. Those are the countries that have bidded to host the institute. Yeah. And if wherever the institute goes, that's where the central bank will be. It will be converted to a central bank. But in addition to the Monetary Institute, there are the Statistics Bureau, the Competition Authority, and others. There are other institutions, the financial institutions, which will be attached to the East African Central Bank. So once that bank is in place, I hope we can meet now the target of 2024 of issuing a single currency for all our countries.
For that to happen, a bank has to be in place first.
Yes, yes, East African Central Bank. Yeah.
And on the issue of DRC, you mentioned that Uganda is building roads within that country. Don't you think that is putting a strain on our finances right here in Uganda, which is also grappling with a small budget? Isn't that constraining our country?
No, but I think you need to look at the bigger picture. Our people need markets. If they have nowhere to sell their things, you can imagine someone driving from Wera to go to Mombasa when they can actually go in the neighborhood. Door, yeah. Yes. No, strategically it's important that we have other alternatives to the sea, apart from the port of Mombasa. And of course, security. If the Congo is secure, really, this region will be really peaceful. If Congo is secure, the economies are going to boom everywhere. Then they can put their
minerals to good use and the country can develop, and the whole region alike.
They would really benefit.
All right, let's also put in the aspect of human rights. How is the East African Court of Justice working round the clock to ensure that they are that body that East Africans can run to in case of human rights violations? Case in point, in 2021, when we had an election, you had so many people opting or wanting to run to the East African Court of Justice. But then experts were telling them that court has no jurisdiction to handle your cases in your respective countries that would warrant your governments, like the government of Uganda, to handle your own issues. If you have an issue and many of your people were violated during an election, go to the bodies mandated with that in that country. But then you have experts who are saying the East African Court of Justice should be empowered to look into what is happening in Uganda, to look into what is happening in Tanzania, Kenya, Rwanda, Burundi, our neighbors, to ensure that Big Brother is watching and not only at the discretion of the respective governments. What is your office doing to ensure that we empower the East African Court of Justice?
I think it's a question of time, because in the treaty, the court was for specific things. Interpretation of the treaty and resolving disputes concerning the staff. That was the original mandate of the East African Court of Justice. About 2 months ago, I laid the protocol which has extended the jurisdiction now from interpretation to the issues of the customs union and the common market protocol. So now, once, I don't know if all the other countries have ratified, once they all ratify, then the court will be able to entertain matters of the common market protocol and the customs union. So it will be a question of time when it can be graduated to look at issues of human rights. That power is not yet there because we have not yet agreed on those particular areas. Yes.
All right. We would like also to know what else needs to be done to speed up the integration process, Honorable Khan.
Maybe in addition to the jurisdiction, I think there's a feeling that the East African Court of Justice should be a full-time court. You know, now it is part-time.
It should be a full-time court.
It is part-time at the moment, so that's also the other limitation. Okay. There is a view that it should be full-time, so that it's available to the citizens throughout the year. So I think that as we increase the jurisdiction, we also need to deal with the issue of how often can they work. Yeah.
Indeed. Honorable Kadaga, you're a very, very busy woman, and in that regard, I think we should work so very quickly to wrap up this conversation so that you can quickly get out of your hair. But before we leave, what more needs to be done to ensure that we speed up the integration process of the EAC?
I think the final one that will speed up would really be the political confederation, because as it is, the issue of sovereignty is still very much at the forefront of the decisions of all the partner states. And you cannot demand from sovereign state to do ABCD. Indeed. So until we come to an argument and say, okay, I've surrendered this right, it is now a common right, it's going to be difficult. So we need to solve the issue of the political confederation.
And that's a wrap for this segment, Women and Power. My name is Roma Busiku. Much appreciate the love and support that you've accorded us as Morning at NTV. Women do have the power to actually achieve anything that they do want if they put their minds to it. So let's support them.
Well, that's a good wrap-up. Thank you so much, Romeo Siko, for hosting Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, Minister for East African Community Affairs. Now, of course, she did mention there was a question about the East African currency, and she did state clearly that before the currency can exist, we actually need the East African Community Central Bank for that communal currency to apply. So until we see a bank, anyone who is, trying to dig into that conversation, don't even bother. But anyway, Women and Power, thank you so much, Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, for that inspiration and that you can do anything if you put your mind to it. We're going to take a breather, but when we return, we do have Reverend Father Joseph Ruzindana, who's here to explain to us more about the genesis of Uganda Matters Day and also the future of our faith as Ugandans. Do stay with us.